great respect. Go ahead, one more. You okay?
North Korea, Kim Jong-un, he just toured a uranium facility. The U.S. is saying that Iran is sending ballistic missiles to Russia. How, if reelected, how would you address the situation with our adversaries?
I'll be able to make phone calls and solve most of the problems. I may actually have to meet a couple of times. But, Viktor Orban, and you've heard me say this, but it wasn't long ago, he said the only way you're going to solve the world problem is Trump has to be president again. And I don't say it. I didn't say it. I sort of would be embarrassed to say it. But he said everybody was afraid of Trump. He said China was afraid. Russia was afraid. North Korea was afraid. Everybody was afraid. We had no wars. We defeated ISIS in 4 weeks. And they said it was going to take 5 years, right? The generals in Washington. I went there and met a great general and some great people. And I said, go to it. And he took them out in 4 weeks, 100% of the ISIS caliphate. I flew there. I flew to Iraq, to the field, and they took them out in a very short period of time, short order. We have a great military, but, a great military needs a leader. If you don't have leaders, then you end up with Afghanistan, the worst withdrawal from a country in the history. Look, I've gotten to know great people. I went to Arlington at their request. And I stood, and I was with them for hours. And I stood with them. They did a ceremony, and then they asked me if I'd go down to the graves of their children. They called them their children, that they always will be their children. And there were tears all over, as there should be. And they said, sir, could you take pictures with me by the grave of my son, in one case a daughter? And I said, I'd love to. And I took pictures with them for a while, and then I left, and that was it. And I got home, and I got a call from the people in the campaign. Sir, the Biden people are saying that you did this for publicity. If people knew how hard it was to get there, because I was coming from a location that was very far away, and yet they were having the ceremony, and I really felt, I had them up to Bedminster, most of the family members, and I got to know them. They're great people. Their sons and daughter, just as though Kamala shot them with a pistol in her hand or his hand, they were killed by Biden and Kamala. They were killed. They should have never left from that airfield. They should have left for Bagram. We should have never given up Bagram. Bagram now is controlled by China. The reason we shouldn't have given it up was not because of Afghanistan. The reason we shouldn't have given it up, 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons, and I wasn't giving it up. We were getting out quickly and effectively. I'm the one that got the numbers down to less than 5,000 soldiers. But I would have never left unless they fulfilled their obligations under an agreement. I had a wonderful agreement, but the agreement said you have to do this, this, this. They didn't do 3 of the first 5 things, so therefore they would have done it. Abdul was the leader, and he wouldn't have done it, and he would have never done that to us. And just in finishing up with that, and I appreciate the question, actually, but in finishing up with that, for 18 months, spoke to Abdul over the phone. For 18 months, not one American soldier was shot or killed. Not one American soldier was even shot at. Abdul understood. Don't do it. I said, don't do it, Abdul. Don't do it. And for 18 months, not one soldier was even shot at. And that's the way it's supposed to be, right? And then they had that horrible situation with the 13 dead, leaving billions of dollars of equipment behind. And leaving a lot of Americans behind, a lot of Americans. And you know what else? Leaving a lot of soldiers badly wounded. Nobody ever talks about them, but I do.